So, what happens when the very idea, the very dream of luxury, just dies? Today, we're diving deep into the LVMH paradox. It's a crisis that is shaking the absolute foundations of the world's most powerful luxury empire. For decades, Bernard Arnault's fortress looked completely invincible. But now, we're starting to see the first cracks in the facade.
And this quote right here, it just nails the whole issue. The entire foundation of modern luxury, that dream that was sold to the masses, it's collapsing. The economic and cultural shifts we're seeing are so huge that they're threatening to take down the whole LVMH identity with them.
So in this explainer, we're basically going to conduct a high-stakes autopsy. We're going to peel back the layers and see how LVMH is trying to navigate this massive existential threat, caught in this silent war between protecting the sacred history of its brands and, well, feeding the endless demands of its shareholders.
All right, let's begin the autopsy. First things first, we need to understand who exactly is walking away from the luxury dream, and more importantly, why their leaving is making the whole system start to tremble.
A really critical group for LVMH has always been the Henrys. That's high earners, not rich yet. These were the people buying the entry-level bags, the logo-heavy stuff that shouted, "I made it." But now, they're leaving in droves. They're all about quiet utility now, choosing these smaller, niche, artisanal brands. And this shift, it completely guts the volume-based growth strategy that LVMH has depended on for decades.
Okay, so here's where it gets really interesting. We have to talk about the core internal conflict that actually created this crisis. It's this fundamental contradiction that's baked right into LVMH's business model.
We're calling it the Scarcity-Scale Paradox. Think about it. On one hand, you have this corporate machine that needs constant, infinite growth every single quarter. But on the other hand, the very definition of luxury demands things to be exclusive, rare, and scarce. You can see how these two forces are in a constant, brutal tug-of-war.
And this chart just lays out that tension perfectly. Shareholders demand mass market scale, relentless expansion. But the luxury customer, they want scarcity, exclusivity, prestige. You just can't have it both ways. And for years, LVMH tried to walk this impossible tightrope. And the result of trying to do both? By pushing so hard to expand into every city to drive up sales, LVMH accidentally diluted the very prestige its brands were built on. Overexposure turned what was once a rare status symbol into just another common commodity.
Okay, so their old model is failing. What do? Well, LVMH is now in the middle of a radical, ruthless, and honestly fascinating pivot away from the middle-class consumer they spent years trying to attract. Their solution is this strategy, reportedly known as Veblen-maxing, and it's designed to solve the overexposure problem in the most brutal way you can imagine. The goal is to make their products so ridiculously expensive that they become completely untouchable for anyone except the absolute wealthiest people on Earth.
It's a three-step playbook. First, hike the prices to insane, astronomical levels. Second, build these ultra-private, invisible salons that only your top clients even know exist. And third, through all this, you regain that sense of total mystery and elite status that you lost through mass expansion.
So here's the bottom line. LVMH is no longer interested in the top 10% or even the top 1%. Their entire focus is now shifting to the top 0.1% of global wealth. This is a deliberate, calculated withdrawal from the mainstream.
But a huge strategic shift like this, it doesn't just change who your customers are. It sends shockwaves right through the company. And it brings up two critical questions. Who is going to lead this new, more exclusive empire, and how are they going to protect it from a new generation of threats? Inside the company, a battle is brewing. Bernard Arnault's 5 children are all positioned within the empire, and they all have competing ideas for its future, especially when it comes to technology. There's a quiet but super intense power struggle for succession happening right now to see who's going to lead this next era. And beyond the family drama, there's another war being fought, a technological one. The company's future now depends on achieving what they call digital sovereignty. It's a whole new way of controlling their products and their brand in the digital age. So why is this so important? Because the threat they're facing is this incredibly sophisticated and damaging market for superfakes. We're talking about counterfeits so good they are almost impossible to tell from the real thing, which, you can imagine, completely destroys a brand's integrity. And this comparison right here shows you just how big of a leap this is. The old way was just a physical product with authenticity that could always be questioned.
The new defense is linking every single item to a blockchain-verified digital twin. Think of it like an unforgeable digital birth certificate that proves absolute ownership.
But okay, even with this radical new strategy and this high-tech defense shield, the war is far from over. In our final section, let's look at the huge external threats that could still bring this whole empire to its knees. The first major threat is the deglobalization of luxury. The world is fragmenting. That single, one-size-fits-all Parisian chic image, it just doesn't work everywhere anymore. LVMH now has to figure out how to tell its heritage stories to wildly different cultures and identities, from Tokyo to Dubai to New York.
And then there's maybe the biggest threat of them all, the next generation, Gen Alpha. This is a group that seems to care more about environmental ethics and stealth wealth, that understated, unbranded quality, than the loud consumerism that defined old luxury. In a lot of ways, their values are the complete opposite of LVMH's historical model.
So this leaves us with one final, massive question. As LVMH sheds its mass-market skin and retreats into this hyper-exclusive fortress, are we watching a collapsing star? Or is it successfully evolving into something totally new? A diversified cultural holding company that sells not just fashion, but elite excess, art, and experiences, something that goes way beyond a luxury goods conglomerate. We'll have to wait and see.